What is going on, guys and girls? Welcome back to the wonderful world of DC Universe Online. We are here with my crazy cat lady, duking it out with her munitions power, the latest power in the game. Last time we played, we had a little contest getting started, and that was the Create a Power contest. You guys went ham on the entries. They were in the 4 digits, between 1,000 and 2,000 entries, and they were coming in strong, still to this moment, coming in hundreds a day. I made sure I read through every single one. I took the time to legit go through every single entry, so your entry was read by me for sure. Hands down guaranteed. It took hours and hours, but I made sure that I gave you guys the due diligence you deserve for entering, and now we're ready to unveil the top 10, including the grand prize PlayStation 4 console winner. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy this video. Also, there's a link in the description below where you can sign up for DC Universe Online. It's free to download PC and PlayStation 4. I'm playing on the PC where it looks oh so lovely on my 4K monitor. But let's get to this list. The way I broke it down was 10 runners-up and then a grand prize winner. So I'm going to go through their entries. There was no requirements for this. It basically just boiled down to the powers I liked the best. And what was really interesting was to see the breakdown of what people came up with. There were some really common threads that I was so surprised that literally hundreds of people came up with very similar ideas. So the biggest, most common powers created, and maybe DC Universe should take a hint from this, I don't know, but the most common powers were a shadow ability, something involving the control of your own shadow or other people's shadows or just the shadows produced in the environment. There were some very creative ones, but so many people dealt with shadows. Also, the dead, raising of the dead, necromancy, zombies, stuff involving using dead spirits, dead souls, dead things to go and attack your enemies. From there, we dipped more into a scientific pathway, which involved powers about gravity, powers about molecular manipulation, powers about atoms, and powers about using the powers of the galaxy or gods to affect the battlefield. And some of them were insanely cool, but there were so many in those 3 main areas. There's also a lot about sound. Plenty of people wanted a sound hero or villain that used sonic booms, that used claps that would shockwave enemies back, that use loud yells to distract their opponents. Some pretty good stuff, and I was really impressed how some of you knew DC Universe Online so well and sort of came up with your powers that fit all the skill trees. And some people wrote 5 pages for this, some people drew pictures, some people just wrote 1 line, and in fact, in this top 11 here, there's a mix of everything. So there was no requirement, there was no, oh, if you did this, you got in, you didn't. These are just my personal opinions. They are all good. There are plenty of great ones that I saw that unfortunately I couldn't pick, so don't feel too bad. But let's get to this list. Coming in at number 10, the 10th runner-up, is Dylan's power, and his power is one that is the power of refilling. And I thought this was just kind of clever and pretty darn nice, because he talks about refilling all the food in Africa, or being able to refill, ammunition, refill energy on a weapon, or you could also refill your arms, your organs. If you're a villain, he says you could empty people's eye sockets or innards and then refill your weapon magazines with their parts and shoot them and stuff like that. So it got pretty creative, and I thought that was a really cool idea. So shout out to you, Dylan, for coming in at number 10. Number 9 is one of my favorites. It is a crazy silly one, and it comes from Kai. He is 12 years old, and his power just made me laugh. You can turn into a giant blowfish and roll around the city, bouncing like a madman, but you can also shrink down into a small blowfish, bounce up into a person's mouth, grow big inside them, and make them explode from the inside. The name of the power would be the Bouncy Puffer power. I just thought that was pretty darn creative. Coming in at number 8 is Trey's power, and this was one that had a couple entries like this, but Trey fleshed it out by far the best, and his is a sports power. Which is something I was kind of thinking about, and I was looking for someone to make an entry about this, and Trey definitely did. He has a whole list of different abilities. The field goal ability, where you could kick footballs in a straight line, damage any enemies it passes through, soccer ball barrage, a broken ankles ability, tackle, pole vault, fencing parry to reduce damage, a KO for a strong right hook from boxing, for a massive 35% damage attack, lots of cool stuff, including two of my favorites, Know You're Out, which would be a rampage based on baseball, where your hero would dash in a straight line, hitting all enemies in your path with a baseball bat. Or 4, you swing your golf club, launch an explosive golf ball at a targeted enemy, dealing AoE damage to all enemies behind. Very creative and cool set of powers and abilities there, Mr. Trey. Anonymous 55986 got real creative, and some people came up with a specific power, and some people came up with more like a superhero or supervillain. And Anonymous went with that route, and he talks this entire story of how basically it's the year 3074, the world is in trouble, it is World War VIII, and so they go through a portal to the Breakfast Realm and pull out all of these breakfast warriors, the Bacon Brigade, the Waffle Warriors, the Muffin Marauders, the Bread Barbarians, and just his detail was super, super crazy and cool, and all their abilities. And it ended up that GhostRobo, was this hero and in command of this entire breakfast army, so I thought it was pretty cool. And just like, he had quite a bit of comedy in his writing, just like they were to assist us if ever there was a conflict against corruption, as stated by the Breakfast Compact of 3015. So shout out to Anonymous. That was a really good one. So what are we on now? 10, 9, 8, 7. This is number 6. This one comes in from Anna, and her power was totally based on Evolve, which I thought was really cool. And you know, it does borrow characters from a different universe, but she had entire trees based on Goliath, Behemoth, Kraken, Wraith, and all their abilities and how it would relate to a superhero or supervillain, and I just thought it was super creative. Plus I have a soft spot for Evolve. There are a lot of people that send in hot cocoa powers too, which I thought was kind of cute and clever. Briar Blackborn submits the 5th runner-up, coming in at number 5 here. He says he's been wanting to play Bloodborne, so he's thinking a lot about blood, and his entire power centers around the viscous substance. He's got a whole slew of abilities here. Everything from Purified Blood, your healing abilities gain 15% more effectiveness, a Hemo Dart, throw a dart of condensed blood magic at the enemy, Bloody Bones, your bones become harder, and you gain a small amount of damage resistance. One of my favorites, Hemo Freeze, where you stun the target by freezing all the blood in their body. I just thought it was a really cool set of abilities, all centered around blood magic, kind of a super sweet idea, so shout out to you, Briar, for sending that one. And number 4 is Master Freddy with a cosmic ability, but his was the most grounded, I felt, of the cosmic abilities, and I could see it working in sort of a realistic sense. A lot of people had powers like, you can create any power, or you can create any object, which are like really cool powers, but that gives you so much flexibility and freedom, you'd just be the ultimate hero, which is great, but I was looking for something a little bit more focused. And Master Freddy has things like Starlight Clone. The user summons star energy and solidifies it to create a clone. Planet Conjure creates a mini planet to be thrown at the enemy. He's got Flight, so they can obviously fly with cosmic energy. Seeker, small orbs create star energy, fire, and home in on the enemy. Black Hole could be used to hold enemies in place. Black holes were also very popular. Wormholes, black holes, portals. But most of them were like, you could pull anything out of it, or you could go to a different dimension. But I like that this one is just to hold the enemy in place. And then his ultimate ability would be Supernova Burst. The user creates a star from within their body. The star continually grows by absorbing all energy around it before exploding. And the downfall of this ability, though, is that the cosmic power can be very hard on the user's body if used improperly, which it sure sounds like it. Conjuring all that star energy would take a toll on my system for sure. Coming in at number 3 here, we have Daniel, who submits the sound ability. And again, there was a lot of people that submitted sound, but this one, again, I felt was like really smart because it involves music. So every attack is based on an instrument. He's got guitars that, you know, make high-pitched squeals to blow enemies' heads off. He's got drums that allow you to perform drum solos and then can buff your allies with damage boosts and other beneficial percentage buffs. He's got, you know, an ultimate attack where your vocals are your instrument. You pull out a microphone and scream as loud as you can, stunning every enemy on the screen. Some really good stuff, all surrounding just like musical instruments, which I thought was really, really creative. Before we get to number 2, another common thread was the idea of reaching into a video game or a TV show and either exploring that realm or pulling stuff out of it. So shout out to those people. I thought those were some pretty cool ideas as well. But coming in with the number 2 runner-up here is Tay. And Tay submits origami as a power where you could be basically folding paper to create a dove that you could throw and then would go and attack an enemy. again, like lots of different ideas here with what you could make, and a lot of them are animalistic, but you could fold the paper into a number of things, into a a healing item, into an airplane, into a lot of things. And I just thought like that idea of folding paper and having origami be a sort of the basis for a hero was pretty clever. And also very viable. Like I could see that working super well in a game or a movie, and it reminded me a little bit of the power from Infamous, which they never fully explored. And so like just all the ideas here did explore that, and I thought that was really good. So kudos to you, Tay. The number one runner-up, and I'm actually gonna reward this guy, Steven here, with a game of his choice. So Steven, I'll be reaching out to you to get you a video game of your choice. Steven, because his idea was just so good, Steven comes up with this team of heroes, and they are the Candy Crushers. So we've got a whole team of heroes here. There are 6 in all: Black Licorice, Bubbles, Jawbreaker, Warhead, Sour Patch, and Big Worm. Oh, Big Worm. He's attached some drawings with it, and Big Worm is just so cool looking. He says Big Worm doesn't have any powers. He's just a big, bad gummy worm. But I like a lot of the thoughts here. Black Licorice is a typically red hero who has super elastic powers, but when he gets angry enough, he turns into evil Black Licorice, and then anything he touches begins vomiting immediately. You've got Warhead, who's composed of almost pure, concentrated sour energy. With one blast, he can make his enemies erode and melt, kind of like an acid rain. You've got Jawbreaker, who's practically indestructible on the outside, but a sweetheart on the inside, can roll up into a ball and deal massive damage. Bubbles, who is a big monster that can change his form, kind of more like gooey candies, like Laffy Taffy or stuff like that. Sour Patch is a Sour Patch guy. He can create countless minions, so he's got like little gummy bears in his pictures. He attached a bunch of drawings that are really, really well done. And I just like this entire idea of this candy-based team. I thought that was pretty smart. And with that, we arrive at the grand prize winner. Those are your 10 runner-ups. It was really hard to get it down from thousands to 11, but I managed to do so. So many great entries. Congrats to the 10 runner-ups. Congrats to everybody that entered, by the way. You all sent in fantastic stuff, and I did read through all of them, so thank you for making this contest such a huge deal. But this guy is going to get a PlayStation 4 ASAP, and his power is the most well thought out, most well fleshed out. I could see it instantly being in the game or in a show or in a comic. It just makes super good sense, and there's nothing wrong with being crazy, but I love that I can instantly in my head picture all of these abilities working right away. He describes them all very well, and our grand prize winner for the Create a Power contest is Logan, coming in with his Ash abilities. Ash as in volcanic ash, as in molten ash. Boy, he gives a bunch of good abilities, and I'm going to go through them because I think they're really darn clever. Maybe, again, DC, maybe you should reach out to this guy because he's got some brilliant ideas here. Burning Wind. Control ash to appear below the feet of a target, lifting them up in the air and stunning them. Incinerating Wave. Throw a wave of hot ash at your target, and it will hit any target 5 meters away. Tainted Skin. It's a buff. Your body's now almost completely covered in ash. The hot temperature from said ash now seals any wounds that have been inflicted on you, and now you ignore most damage for a limited time. You've got the Ring of Blood. Create a ring of ash at the targeted location, and all those who enter the ring are stunned and suffer from high damage. Phase ability. Teleport to an area by the wind blowing you, and you sort of decompose down into a wave of ash, and then teleport and rematerialize. Blood Boil. Another cool ability. It's a self-heal. Place your hand on a target and burn their body with hot ash, while at the same time slightly healing you, so you're kind of stealing the heat and the healing energy from them. The longer your hand stays on, the higher the damage, and the more healing you receive. Burial. Encompass the target in a ball of ash and crush them with deadly force, while at the same time ensnaring the enemy to deal even more damage. Chains of Woe. Create chains of burning ash and whip them around in skilled fashion in a wide column in front of you. For a combo at the end, add sharp blades at the sides of the chains and wrap the target in the chains, lacerating his entire body by pulling ferociously. And the final move would be a summon called Ghost of Ash. Summon a figure made of burning ash that aggressively attacks the target with melee damage. The ghost wields a scythe and places a snare on the target. I really like the combination of sort of the ashen winds with the volcanic properties, the heat properties, the healing properties. Again, everything was just very aptly named, very well written, and it just seemed like, man, I want to go play an Ash character in the game instantly. Like, this is such a cool ability. He's a damage dealer and a self-healer, and Logan, like, man, you really outdid yourself, and this was a superstar of an ability. Big, big, big congrats to you for winning the contest. I will be in touch to get you your PS4. Again, big thanks to everybody for entering. Hope you've been enjoying the munitions menagerie of madness on your screen. My kitty cat crazy villain will continue her destruction as we progress through the game, but I'm going to leave you guys here. Hope you enjoyed this video, hearing all the powers from our community. A very, very creative and great group of you guys who entered. I was blown away by some of your just intensity and knowledge and thought process and imagination. So like huge shout out once again. Make sure to check out DC Universe Online, link in the description, where you can download the game for free and get playing. Maybe you'll meet up with me, maybe you'll pick munitions, maybe you'll shoot your way straight to the top of the hero landscape or the villain castle. Either way, guys and girls, thanks so much for watching. Fantastic day. Drink some hot chocolate. Until next time, thanks again. We will see you all later.